Dr. Ashley Bogan, the General Secretary of the General Commission on Archives and History. Welcome to Rooted Methodism, where we will take a deep dive into the story of Methodism in America, from its colonial beginnings to our current denomination. In today's segment, we will focus on how race has shaped and reshaped the church's life and witness in the world. Let's get started. The first Methodist gatherings, like Philip Embury's class meetings in New York City, brought together people from various cultures and races, including people of African descent. At this time, slavery had been in America for almost 2 centuries. John Wesley, the founder of Methodism, was clear. Slavery was a, quote, complicated villainy against God's justice. Early leaders like Bishops Thomas Coke and Francis Asbury tried to make anti-slavery rulings, even telling ministers to free enslaved people or face removal. This church law was put in place at the founding Christmas conference in 1784 in Baltimore, where Bishop Asbury presided. But pushback came quickly, especially from the American South. Within a year, those strict rules were softened, and over time, church law became more permissive towards slavery. Even when Black Methodists were welcomed into worship, racism was baked into the complex systems of the church in America. Black Methodist leaders like Harry Hoosier and Richard Allen could preach, but not vote at annual conferences. And Black preachers faced physical endangerment traveling the circuits, especially in the South, that white preachers did not. In 1787, Richard Allen and other Black Methodists were forced to move to segregated seating in the historic St. George's Methodist Church in Philadelphia. This blatant act of racism led to the founding of the African Methodist Episcopal Church in 1816. Tensions over slavery kept growing. By 1844, the flashpoint concerned Bishop James Andrew, who became a slaveholder through inheritance and marriage. Northern delegates insisted he step down. Southern delegates refused. The result? A split into the Methodist Episcopal Church and the Methodist Episcopal Church South. The two sides disagreed on more than just theology, but it was particularly slavery and race that tore them apart. It's a relatively long time of division between the Methodist Episcopal Church and the Methodist Episcopal Church South. We fast forward to 1939 to find the two churches reuniting, but under a Jim Crow compromise. All Black congregations were placed in a separate, nationwide central jurisdiction. This gave Black Methodists some leadership opportunities, but locked segregation into the church's governing constitution, something no other major Protestant body had done. It wasn't until the late 1960s, amid the civil rights movement, amid urban uprisings, and amid Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination, that the central jurisdiction was finally abolished at the 1968 Uniting Conference. The story doesn't end there. In recent decades, debates over human sexuality have reopened the deep divides that have plagued the church for so long. At the 2019 special session of the General Conference, accusations of bribery, charges of colonialism, and competing visions from the delegations of United Methodists from the African continent, the North American continent, and other global delegates revealed how race and sexuality are intertwined in United Methodism's life. Scholars note that some of the biblical arguments once used to defend slavery had reappeared in debates over LGBTQ+ inclusion. The word intersectionality comes to mind in these recent arguments debated in the denomination. From John Wesley's fiery denunciation of American slavery, to the witness and departure of Richard Allen, to the schism of 1844, to the segregation of the central jurisdiction, and to today's intersectional debates, Methodism's story is deeply tied to its own struggles with race and justice. We are all bound up in a different version of that same story. Understanding this story and its history helps us see that the church has always been shaped by its cultural context, and that the call to live out the gospel's vision of equality is still before us, regardless of our context. God's call and work charged to us are clear. We must mark our history faithfully while tending to the unfolding future before us. This is no easy task, but God has equipped Methodists throughout our history with tools and luminaries to help move us forward along the way.